It's the Montessori Power Hour. I'm David Hargis.
And I'm Aubrey Hargis. And today is a little retrospective back. We're going to be doing a whole year in review. All of 2020, 2020, how many 20s are in 2024? Just two? 2024 themes at Child of the Redwoods. And we're going to share our favorites as well.
That's right. Of course, Mr. Bunny might be hopping by, but first, as you said, I can't believe it. It is actually almost 2025. You asked how many 20s are in
Still
2020.
two 20s in 2025.
Well, I think we should get out the golden beads and decide how many 20s go into the number 2024.
That would actually be a super fun activity. All right.
Well, anyway, we thought it'd be fun to take a little journey back in time because it is almost the end of the year, and it's fun to sort of think back on what you've done. And I know we've got a pretty good audience out there this morning. Hello, hello. If you're having any technical issues, let us know. And we'd also really like to know what some of your favorite activities or themes were from this year. Pop those in the chat. We'd love to hear it because we really want to shout those out.
Yes, or if there's like a particularly favorite activity that you really love from a particular theme, put that in the comments.
Yeah, we'd love to hear that too. Okay, so I thought it would be fun if we actually got the themes out and looked at them.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Should we tell them your actual idea?
Yes.
Well, we weren't able to make it happen, but we were going to come in here with a great big Santa bag.
Yeah.
And then we talked about maybe we would gift wrap every single theme, but then we realized we don't have time to do any of those things. So you get the regular reveal.
That's right.
2024, here they come, and it is actually...
Oh, it's so big.
Don't break the studio. It actually is a lot of content. And when I look at this stack, I'm actually just kind of amazed that we did all of that in 1 year. I mean, that is a lot of publishing work for just two people.
It is.
But we have to also say that it wasn't just the two of us. No. Our members were integral in every part of the creation of these themes, from the brainstorming, from the continual requests for certain kinds of activities. So that, like, the ideas that you guys shouted out in our DMs, you would pop up lots of times. Our members pop with ideas for themes that are sometimes even really far in the future, that are just brilliant ideas, and then we love making it come to life.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch. You go from this is our January theme. Down here is Pirouette, which is our December theme, and even for us, for me as I was preparing these and looking through it, there's so much iteration, and that is because of the collaboration that we really try to foster with everybody in our community. So for all of you who are a current or were a member at any point during 2024, we thank you not only for being a member and letting us continue to do our work. We could not do our work without you, for sure, but also for being such an awesome collaborative partner in this journey of Montessori homeschooling.
Yes, really. We want to express our gratitude to all of you who have had any part in these themes, and even just when you do the activities and share those pictures with us, it is so inspiring.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like if I were writing these lessons in a vacuum, or if you were designing all of it and we never saw that kind of what happens after it goes through the publishing process, I don't know that we would have the motivation to continue.
Yeah, I mean,
we have
to imagine what we think the theme and the activity will be like, and then but it's always so gratifying to see it in the actual hands of
the... It never compares to the reality.
No,
yeah, when we see those little hands doing all these really cool things, or merging activities that we didn't even know went together, in a particular way. The kind of creative things that you do with your children, it is really cool.
Yeah, now I think it'd be interesting, I mean, to mention kind of a little bit, for those of you who kind of want to peek behind the scenes, what is it about themes? Like, what exactly are we trying to do with these themes?
Well, okay, so here's the behind the scenes creation process. So we actually pick the themes in advance of the entire year.
Yeah, well, right.
And this is also with member input. And so members, I know it's a long time to wait, but sometimes themes that members have requested, they're not really queued up until like a year in advance.
That's right.
But we are writing them basically in time in the year.
That's
We
right.
don't write all of the theme activities up front for the entire year. And that's why we can't just give you the whole year's worth in advance.
That's right.
It's because it is a real process that we are working in real time with members on.
Yeah, we're trying to actually create more like an actual learning, a comprehensive learning experience versus just like here's a packet of somehow related.
I mean, you can go online, you can
printables.
find packets of themes all over the place. There's just millions of activities on the internet that are already out there, created by teachers or by parents, that are great for kids. There's really just like, if you just take one theme in particular, I mean, you could think of, eventually you could like collect like 100 ideas of things that you could do with your kid. And what we actually try to do is we actually try to pick the theme, the activities that fit really well together. It's actually not an easy task. That also go with the 10 core subject areas that we've identified in the Montessori curriculum. There are 10 core subject areas in Montessori.
Can you name those 10 subject areas?
Off the top of my head in order?
Yes.
Practical life, sensorial, well, in primary is reading, we've split it into reading and writing and grammar and math and geometry and humankind and physical science and life science.
And?
Is there one more?
Yes.
No,
the
there's
arts.
10.
The arts.
Ah!
Or art.
I know.
It's
Well,
even the shortest of the words, art.
Fortunately, I don't have to keep all of those in my head because we have them
Beautifully
in this
laid out here in our little...
Yeah, our little card system. So in real time, what that process looks like is taking stock of the concept of the theme and then applying it to these 10 core subject areas, thinking of the best way that we could really maximize our time with our kids, the activities that are just have the opportunities for expansion into different subject areas. And so some of our themes end up being like a little more experiment heavy, and some themes end up being like a little more, I don't know, like language kind of centric. But all of those activities has been specifically chosen to work synergistically with each other. And the thing that I really love is that our themes, they tend to connect to each other in really interesting ways as well. You know, something that I really love about some of the themes that we created this year, not just knowing that like we went from tiny to giant, which was fun, but our members are starting to call out like, hey, this activity that we do later in the year actually relates really well. Like what the activity we did at the beginning of the year set the stage, and now like my child has had months to kind of meld over that, like kind of simmer over that idea, right? And then eventually like, now I see the reward. Like later on, now we're doing another activity and it's just, I'm seeing the fruits of the labor that I put in earlier in the year. And sometimes our members are even like, oh, this activity didn't even really sell earlier in the year. Like it was okay. And then later on in the year, they're like, my child actually begged for that activity that I think that they didn't even pay attention to, or, you know, then like, and then we start to see the fruits.
Yeah,
really
I mean, this
come
is
out.
the essence of the interdisciplinary learning model.
It's very exciting, friends. So the way we actually conceive of the entire year in advance is we try to focus in on a mix of life science, physical science, and humankind themes, just topics in general. We want them to be cultural studies that we're really deep diving into. And so the topics of our themes do tend to be really science heavy. But that's not to say that the activities inside each theme is all about science.
No, for sure. And pause a second. I got a comment here. Allie says that her volume is maxed out, but the sound is quiet.
Oh.
Okay, so I've raised the volume. Can you confirm, Allie and others, whether it's easier to hear us now? We've kind of got the volume raised a
Yeah, let
bit.
us know.
It's always a bit of a crapshoot, I think, when we do this audio.
All right, so we'll pause.
We'll pause and
let us know in the chat. Sometimes that takes a second to come in.
Yeah,
we'll just confirm that you can hear us.
That's right. Well, we'll move on while we're waiting to get some confirmation.
Okay. So, so that's the way we begin the themes, is by honing in on the life science, physical science, and humankind topics. And we aim for like a mix of them within the whole year. Because the idea is that as we go through the themes, we're not just studying individual little pieces of content. We're looking for a whole year, like, yeah, your kid is going to learn a lot in 1 month, but over a year, you are going to really dive into all of these subject areas pretty much in depth and cover a pretty vast number of these actual lessons that are in the Montessori curriculum.
Yeah, there's about 2,000.
Surprising number.
About 2,000 lessons in what we call our core foundational curriculum, which is primary and lower elementary. That goes from levels, or what we would call level 1 to 6. So there are over 2,000 lessons, and they are all interrelated. So yeah, the dream is to create lessons here. Sounds the same for you? Okay, we're going to work on that for just a second, Allie. The idea is to create things here that reinforce here and vice versa. So,
yeah.
All right, let me take a quick second to see if we can get this audio worked out.
Okay. So you can just turn up the general volume.
That's right.
Things we will cut out of the replay.
That's right.
The benefits of joining us live.
Okay.
You know it's real.
That's right. This is how it is when you're a YouTube celebrity.
Oh, right.
We have a good audience, though, out there. Thank you for everybody who's joining for the replay. You won't have to sit through our tech problem. But if you can hear us better now, Allie or others, let us know. We've got it cranked up even further. Hopefully that will solve it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll just continue then.
Please.
Yes? Okay. So we also want our themes to be incredibly hands-on experiences. We try really hard to make sure that there is a good mix. Yes, we have principal materials inside every single theme, parts cards, and all of that kind of stuff you would expect to see in a Montessori environment. But we really prioritize, at least in the lesson writing itself, those real concrete experiences that your child might actually have in the real world that relate to that theme, because that's really what is going to inspire them and help them to really connect to every single subject area.
That's right. Ted Lee Ever After, one of our a fellow puppeteer of sorts, says that she also just realized that it had an audio maxed out. It's much better. So if you guys would just let us know, I've cranked it up quite a bit. So let us know for sure whether you can hear us clearly now before we move forward too far into the show, because we have some fun stuff coming. And we'll just give everybody just a quick second. So
I think she said it's better.
Okay.
Yeah,
better. Okay, great.
Perfect.
So we had a year of fun themes. Every time we develop a theme, we really are working to try and think about how it works with our, the idea of thematic learning and with the foundational curriculum and other things like that. But I think what we need to do now is we actually need to look at some themes. Are you ready for that?
All right, let's do a year in review. Let's do it.
Well, I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember what we did in January?
I do, actually.
Of course.
Yeah.
We did climb. Climb. All right, if any of our friends out there have memories of climb that they want to share, we'd love to hear it. Now, what was climb about?
Oh, climb. Well, the cover says climb is about mountaineering, but what I know is that a heavy part of that for me was researching mountain goats.
Yes.
Yes. So there's quite a bit of goatness in here as well. Oh my gosh! Oh yeah, this is the theme where we talked about goal setting.
Oh
too.
yes.
Yeah, and the idea of like climbing your own mountain.
That's
I know,
right.
it was also kind of ran through this theme. It was fun. I thought that this was a really fun theme to start the year on, because in part, like we have the cross theme of like it's New Year's resolution time. We're like talking about habits and setting goals for ourselves,
That's right.
and kind of that metaphor is shining through in just the theme of climb itself, but also. A lot of mountains are snowy. I don't know if you knew that about mountains, but like there's a lot of snow, and so I felt like this theme was cheeky because it's like it's January, and for a lot of people, not us here in San Francisco, but for a lot of people, it is snow season.
Yeah.
And even if you're in a climate that's
US, yeah.
warm, maybe you have the snow vibes just because of like the culture that's
Yeah.
around you. Like it's snow season, even if it's not actually snowing where you are.
But even here, where it never snows, people drive to do winter sports.
yeah.
Because you can get to the snow in just a few hours, in a couple hours here.
That's right. And when we lived in Texas, there was some snow. It was mostly sleet
Yep.
and ice. But I know like people would drive up to Colorado to find like ski places. Wherever their ski places are.
Ski places.
We're not ski people. But yeah, snow's great.
Snow is great.
It reminds me the year before, it's a great connection. The year before we did Frozen. And so
Oh,
I
that's
was
right.
hoping when we created this unit of climb that some of our members would be remembering the year of like the previous January where we did a theme of Frozen,
Yeah.
and maybe make that connection too. And I think a lot of them did.
Yeah, I think one of my favorites from this one was the Pangea map. I know a lot of people had a lot of fun. Let me see.
See, that is the kind of thing you would never think to find in a
Yeah.
unit like that.
See
Was
if
the
I can-
Pangea map in this
Yeah,
one?
I think
No
so.
way.
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to find it.
Why?
Pangea puzzles. Where is that one? Well, anyway, we did the Pangea puzzles in this unit, and it's a lot of fun. And it's the kind of thing because it's just trying to draw this broad. Let's see. Oh yes, here we are.
Yeah, here it is. That's right. I forgot about it.
It's because we did the how the mountains, and so it showed like the
Mountain
mountains
ranges,
here
yeah.
in the northern part of the the North American continent line up with the mountains here in the Highlands, so the
That's
Scottish
right.
Highlands.
That
and,
idea came from a member as well.
Yeah.
Thank you to whoever.
Yeah, so this is one of the activities I thought was really cool. I actually did not know geologically that the Scottish Highlands are connected to the mountains in Canada and the northern United States.
Yeah, and in the
And
Appalachian
they were together
area.
and they split, and so that's like one of those things where as an adult I was like, oh,
That was
pretty
super cool.
All
Yeah.
right, Tedley says
All
we're
right.
still feeling pretty new to our province. Theme helped us make a transition. Theo was excited to explore the nearby mountains in Banff.
Yes. A lot of our members did live near enough to some mountains to actually have some real life experiences that were able to make that connection for their kids. I think that's really cool. And others made their mountains out of mashed potatoes.
Which was an activity in this. Okay, are you ready for the next
Okay.
one?
Let's do it. What was for February?
Pigment.
It was, I love this one.
Now what? Pigment, of course, was about color. Had a
Color.
lot of things about
Yeah.
color theory. We have our top down. Let me.
Yes.
let me see if
This
I
is
can-
actually a theme that, you want to do a top down? This is actually a theme that we have created not once but twice in its lifetime here at Child of the Redwoods.
That's true.
It was one of our very earliest themes before we had the real ability to do more of this graphic design work, and before we had really decided on the full format of our scripted lessons. So we wanted to bring it back. We kind of reinvented this theme with some new activities, some similar activities, and we really fleshed them all out. Yeah.
It's crooked.
It's
You
cro-
keep making
oh.
it crooked.
Oh, okay, sorry. Well, it's crooked for me now.
Folks, you're seeing a
What is it?
behind the scenes battle. This is what being married for 25 years is like. You say, she's like, I'm like, okay, it looks nice, and she's like, nope, here, and they were like, yeah. So
Okay.
anyway, this was a really fun. It was looking at color from a lot and all different ways. So we had light as color, we had pigmentation in terms of like paint pigmentation. We did the spectrum. Oh yeah, we did natural dyes, a four part card on natural dyes, and and we also did like melanin. I think was in this one. So
yeah,
like,
the pigment of skin
yes,
color, which
that's
is
right.
really
So a
fascinating.
biology lesson there, and
Yes.
it was a good one. I loved especially. Here's a personal anecdote on that I was thinking about.
Yeah.
I gave. So this is part of the. This is an impressionistic chart that's included in it, and you would use a prism. And actually, this inspired a homily that I gave later in the year. Remember, I brought back this concept. So
Yeah, you got to teach this lesson in real life. That was fun.
it was. So there's a lot of. This is a good one.
Yeah, so fun. You know that natural dye has like always been a. I'm not very good at it, but it's always been really like a crafty interest of mine. I love the idea of like natural dyeing, natural watercolor, natural paints, and so this actually it looks like it's just about painting by the color, but it actually the history, the depth of knowledge that we brought to kids through this unit, exploring great gradations of color and like how color actually appears to us through our eyes, our
The rods and
vision,
cones
through
and all that
light.
stuff, yeah.
We got to most of our members bought little prisms, and so
Yes.
it was really fun. That's another thing that we've always had in our house is like little prisms of light. I really love a house full of rainbows, and so
That's right.
yes, we don't just advertise pigment. We live pigment every day. Little rainbows all over our living room. That was a beautiful unit. What's next?
All right. This one is a. Nope. I think it was this one. March.
Okay.
Peaceful.
March is peaceful.
What do you remember about peaceful?
Okay, well, I remember that peaceful was another reinvention theme for us, kind of an idea that had been permeating through Child of the Redwoods. Of course, in Montessori, we have always had this emphasis on the peaceful curriculum. And so this theme was an attempt to like really flesh out what does it look like to create a curriculum about peace, you know, in a home where you're learning with your child. And so I think that this theme, is probably it is a humankind theme for sure. So here we've had like climb is very physical science, pigment is very physical science, and also some life science. Peaceful is kind of an ethereal concept, right? It's very abstract. What does it mean to be peaceful? But we had a lot of fun making it real and tangible for our kids. We had them make labyrinths out of Montessori materials. We printed this really cool book about the peace table, right?
Red and blue rods, I think, for the labyrinth.
Yeah, we created this little booklet that you could use at a peace table at home. There's the Making Silence poem. We talked about like standing up for peace and marching for peace, making peace banners. We studied peacemakers too. I think that those cards are back here.
Yep.
All kinds of peacemakers, with the caveat that, you know, the most important peacemakers are, you know, ourselves.
Totally.
We're the ones, you know, there are many people, nobody is perfect in this world, but even one person, just one part of your day, you can stand up for peace, and it does make a positive impact in the world.
It's like the song "Let There Be Peace on Earth" and "Let It Begin with Me." It's sort of the concept. This is the one we did semaphore as well.
Oh yes, the signs for the sign for peace, where that peace sign came from in the first place. You know, the typical peace sign actually came from semaphores.
Yeah.
It was chosen intentionally to be that sign. And then a little visual recipe. It was a fun unit.
That was
I liked
a fun
it
unit.
It was. I think it's.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I think that it's really nice, you know, to have themes that are more concrete and some themes that are a little more ethereal. And so we aim for kind of a balance, a back and forth balance of that. So this was kind of, I felt like it was a relaxing theme. A lot of our members enjoyed it because they had found the previous theme about color kind of intense,
there's a lot of hard science type stuff.
Yeah, and so peaceful was kind of metaphorical. It was relaxing. It was about creating that peaceful corner in their home.
And I don't know, I'd be curious if we have anyone in the chat who went through that. I know that there were actually some folks in the community that found the kind of ephemeral quality of it challenging.
Yes.
Because we have such an expectation that school is only about hard science or grammar or math, or you could study art in a specific kind of way. But as you pointed out last week, there's no like hope curriculum, or it's rare, right? You just like studying peace, studying philosophy, theology, things like that are just not part of the standard school curriculum, and to our detriment as a society. And so I think sometimes if we think like, well, a serious school must always be about those kinds of reading, writing, arithmetic, and forget that like the human experience is actually very broad and includes things like our advocacy for peace, or how we center ourselves, or how we learn to interact with others, and the things that we value as human beings. So it's a great unit. If you didn't do it because you're newer to us or you haven't joined yet, join and go check it out.
It's in the lesson library.
It's actually a good one for this season as well. All right, are you ready for April? Now, April was mushroom. Now, this cover is unique for two reasons. One is we always try and do an original drawing, but this time we did a photo, and so that's different. And the other is that our son took this photo. He loves taking photos of mushrooms.
Yes.
And so I wanted to feature his photo with a little bit of an orangey filter over it to make it consistent with the other styles of the themes. But it was fun. Yeah, let's get that one. Yeah, this was a good one. So hats off to our oldest for his contribution to the family business.
Yeah.
All right, now what do you remember about mushroom?
Oh, okay. So like foraging for mushrooms is a really big thing here in California. But I think that fungus, or fungi, it grows everywhere. It's
Sure.
like all over the earth. I don't think that there's a single place on earth where fungus doesn't have a hold on, and it's in much bigger quantities than we can really possibly conceive of. I mean, it's huge. It's constantly growing under the ground. Sometimes the little tendrils of fungus is invisible to our eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Like we just wouldn't even think about it. And sometimes it is visible. We go in, we dig under the composting leaves, and we're like, hey, actually, like, what's this white powdery stuff? It's actually the fungus that's composting what's underneath us. And so a lot of mushroom, I think, was like exploring things that are hidden. And the fact that mushrooms have spores, I think, was a really interesting thing for kids to discover in this one. I know that we had some activities in here that seemed like they were great for little ones, like the sponge squeezing.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually had some of our members with older kids do this activity on their level, following sometimes some of the tips that we post for our older kids in the Everyone Can Play section.
Yeah, that is one of the criteria we have for picking, is how picking activities that have broad applicability and appeal.
Yeah. And then also just, I think, trusting that the Montessori method is appealing for every single age. And so I remember this particular member showed the activity to her two older girls, and found that even though they were elementary age, and presumably sponge squeezing would be the thing that had been accomplished many years ago, they actually found some fascinating things to discover and explore, which is just the really cool part. Is even if you think an activity is really only for little ones, like, try it with older kids and just see what discoveries they make, because they can really, really surprise you.
Totally.
So that's one of the things I remember about this theme in particular.
Yeah.
Oh, the fairy tale mushrooms. That was really fun to explore. You know, of course, the idea that We didn't go really deep into the hallucinogenic part about mushrooms.
Surprisingly, that was not high on the list.
But we did integrate in some information about why you have to be careful when you're out in the wild. Like, you don't just put everything in your mouth. No. And so it was like an opportunity for illuminating that.
Yeah, parts of a portobello.
Parts of a portobello.
Which is a great one because you can pretty easily get portobello mushrooms or in your store, and they won't have all these parts, but they'll have some of the parts, and so dissecting it and looking at it is a part of it. Tedley says they love doing the spore print. They added some googly eyes and legs, and it's still on the wall. That was a good one. This is also the one where we did the shapes, the matching.
Yes, I saw Sarah get this out with her little one earlier, just last week. She said it was still going in their household. And
this, and there's the fairy tale. I think those are the fairy tale mushrooms.
The Amanita muscaria.
Yeah, and then this activity, this packet also included this categorizing set with animal, plant, and fungi kingdom. Yes. With control of error, and this is a perfectly aligned activity for those studying life science.
Right.
So if you are digging into life science and you're looking for some some sorting card activities, go back to this one.
Yeah, this is a fun one.
Yeah,
I really liked that. I had forgotten we had done the sorting activity.
Yeah, I had forgotten we did a lot of these. Okay, here's next.
What's next? It is in May. Oh, yes.
Ooh, it's a tiny.
This isn't quite summer, but this was kind of feeling like this was how we began the summer season here at Child of the Redwoods, was with tiny.
Well, and I'm going to go ahead and jump the gun here and say, because these really were meant to go together,
they
right?
They sure were, yeah. They were a team.
So we had tiny in May and giant in June.
Yes, and they were meant to go together, and so the creation of the activities, we were thinking in tiny, we're going to design this, and then in giant, we're going to extend it, or we're going to take it in a different direction for giant.
Yeah.
So something I remember about tiny is we studied the parts of a tardigrade.
Now this was a good one because I had originally drawn a more scientifically accurate tardigrade. Yes. And was told in no uncertain terms that tardigrade was just
too scary.
Yeah. So at the last minute we recreated. Now I think you're right. Like
this is still correct. I just gave you a different picture of a tardigrade to model your drawing.
Yeah, so much more adorable tardigrade.
More adorable. Yeah, I was like, this tardigrade is too scary. We're not doing it. Make it cuter. But still accurate.
Still accurate. The other thing that was fun in this one that relates to the theme that follows is that we did tiny synonyms.
Oh, right.
And then here in giant, we did giant synonyms.
Right. So yes, we did. We kept that activity the same, but since the themes were opposites of each other, we leaned into that.
Yeah. And so this is another one. If you missed out on that connection,
right,
or you're new, or you're thinking about joining,
so we had
these two were meant to kind of play off each other and could be combined.
Yeah. So I'm reading here. Water bearers are, and then you can choose between pocket size, runty, teeny tiny, minuscule, eensy weensy, or small. And obviously, any of these would go with the sentence. It was more about like the fun way you're choosing to make your sentences. These golden beads are runty. It still cracks me up. Her ring is eensy weensy. Their babies are minuscule. I just think it's so cute.
But these, and here's the ones from Giant, and they're exactly the same size. So you could mix them up.
We have the Pacific Ocean is gargantuan.
Humongous.
A redwood tree is
enormous. But I could imagine, this is one where you could mix and match these together, and you could make some funny things. Like a redwood tree is eensy weensy.
You could.
But it also is a good way to sort of teach. You could imagine expanding this to.
You could. Our members
categorizing your giant synonyms and your tiny synonyms.
Yeah, and we gave extra blanks just in case for our members to make up their own synonyms, and then talk about the antonyms, as well. So yeah, that was fun. That was fun. So yeah, in Giant we had kind of a focus on the savannah.
That's right.
So we took that elephant.
So we had parts of a water bear, a tardigrade, and then in this one we had parts of an elephant, an African bush elephant. We had tall tails.
Yes, did you find one? Because I found pocket
Oh
sewing.
yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
one too.
yeah, like a sewing.
I know that a lot of
pocket.
our friends
was
did
cute.
this one. It was really fun to see those in the community.
It was. And then
Yeah.
what did you find? The extremely tall tails.
Yes, and this was also one. I think isn't this the one where
Yes.
one of our members, their whole crew, from their very littlest to their teenager, made buildings, skyscrapers on the wall.
On the wall, yeah.
And it was so cool.
Yes.
That was one of my favorites to see.
And we used the golden beads with this one.
Yep.
And so they are color coded, the way you would work with the golden beads.
Yep.
Very cool. Yeah, that was fun. I love Giants.
All right, then we get into the second half of the year, and we start off with Invent.
Okay.
And Invent was about inventions, of course.
Yes. Now, Invent is special because like, pigment, peaceful, invent, these were all themes that we had started off with in 2020.
Yeah,
and
when
that
we
our
first
members,
created the program.
Our members requested that they come back and be fully fleshed out. Yeah, so they kind of go together in my heart. I'm really proud that we were able to fully flesh them out.
Yeah, so we had matching inventors to their inventions. We had the Sugar Cube Village. This is the one where we did maker spaces as well, and that was a big hit.
Yes.
Those were really fun to see. We did some simple machines, inclined plane, things like that.
Yep.
Here's kid inventions.
Yeah, we had a request for a timeline.
Christmas tree lights.
So we decided to do things that were invented by kids on a timeline, and that turned out really fun.
Oh, right. Oh, I loved these drawings.
Yes, we had a lot of math in there, and also these were invention command cards. So, and I think our members really liked these, where we pulled them out, and then they had to invent something, that the prompt asked them to.
Yeah, Ted Lee says the makerspace from Invent is still going strong in our house. We love it.
Yay!
Those makerspaces are fun. It was really cool to see that come alive, and I think the idea of a makerspace is not foreign to a lot of folks, but I don't know that my experience in the community was that not everyone had considered
having one in their home,
especially for little ones, and actually it was a huge hit. So just a great example of never underestimate the power of a child.
We had a lot of math problems in this one, and so I remember we made paper versions of the stamp game.
That's right.
And this is where we really tried to standardize our printable
This is talking about
versions.
like the progression of our work to over the course of the year.
Yep. So I feel like this is where we kind of standardized the size of golden beads that we wanted to do in the stamps.
Yeah.
I remember in Giant, I think we also had the golden beads, and we made them extra large.
Right.
Right.
But then we
sort of,
and then we figured
for
out
fun, because it's Giant.
It's Giant. Yeah.
But then we kind of standardized them. So moving forward, this is the size of golden beads that we'll be offering. And our idea with the themes is always to give you, if we can give you the concrete materials in paper form and create them through our design work, or through David's design work, really, then we will, So that was the commitment that we made long ago with Constellations themes. And so it's really great. Like if you see that we've, included a set of golden beads or colored beads or stamps or whatever in the theme, it's in there multiple times on purpose.
Yep.
Yeah, because we want you to be able to just take the activities, and whether you actually have the concrete Montessori material or not, to be able to do the activity.
Yeah.
And
that's right.
also, paper versions are really fun because you can cut them out and like glue them and get crafty with them, and so they're good. They're their own thing.
Okay, now we're moving into the end of summer. We had one of my favorites, Farm.
Yes.
I love this cover.
I know.
What do you remember about the Farm unit?
Farm was really fun. Oh gosh, I just remember it was like really, really packed full of stuff. I think this is, yes, I was going to say this is where we had the sheep,
Yes.
like the counting sheep to sleep activity that actually turned out to be super popular with several of our children members.
It's
it was counting linearly from 1 to 100.
Yep.
Right?
So basically, you would cut these out. You would print them single-sided and tape them together.
Yeah.
And then they would
string them
through here.
And then you're just counting the sheep in order. But the way our members were doing it, according to the lesson, is in a sleepy way. So you're going to start off faster, and then you're going to get tired as you start counting. And so the sweet thing is, it really did, the vision that we had of our members doing it with their kids really did come true. It's not always the case. You never know like what's really going to be the big hit of the theme, but that one really was a really big hit.
This also had another big hit for this one was the farmer's market.
Right.
We saw, and I still see kids playing farmer's market.
Yes, in our community. Yeah, it keeps coming back up. It was a really fun one. Yeah. And this one goes
it's a math activity.
It's a math activity, but it doesn't feel that way to the kids. They're just like playing farmer's market. Yeah. A lot of them have been to farmer's markets, but here you can see we had fun doing the scripting. We played the snake game for addition in this one. Who knew? And we played it with the farmer's market activity. Oh yeah, that's why this was a really fun one because our members could, we told them in the activity that they could play farmer's market only with the colored beads and not necessarily with money. You know, so you could do it, make it about a play money type of game, or it could be you could play with the colored beads and the golden beads as your money and add up the vegetables and play the snake game with the vegetables. So it was a really fun one and a little more complicated. We did parts of the cow.
We did parts of a cow.
I know.
This is also, I remember this one from my...
Ooh, yes! I had forgotten why this one was so big. I bet you didn't forget.
I did not enjoy this one as much.
I know. Oh my goodness. I remember I was so excited about doing this one because I have for the longest time wanted to flesh out all of the grammar cards for us.
Yes.
And so I was just waiting for a theme that I could really bring all the grammar stuff in. And so I know our members, when they actually were requesting this theme a year in advance, they were like, we want a farm theme. And we want, could you do the grammar farm? Because that is a brilliant, beautiful, and massive undertaking in Montessori is the grammar farm activities.
Yes.
There's a lot of activities that deal with the grammar farm, a miniature environment. We list them all in our foundational curriculum.
That's right.
But finding an excuse to come up with all of those materials and have them be used, in a way that is totally relatable and real and concrete. It was really fun. And so I was super excited about writing this activity. I was like, yeah, now I'm going to generate, here are all the adverbs and here's all the, and I actually took the scripting straight out of our foundational lessons. I just pulled those straight out, stripped them down. And so they're all listed here in the lesson. Let me see if I could give an example.
Yeah, this... Yes.
Yeah. So here, and what we told our members is let this activity go really slowly at your child's pace. Don't try and do it all at once. But it was basically 7 or 8 lessons all combined into one overhanging lesson called Grammar Farm. So here we have explanations and scripting for introducing the noun, and here we have the article showing you exactly how to do the grammar farm along with the materials, the grammar materials. And then I give David the draft for this unit of farm, which he expects to be about farm animals mostly, and maybe parts of the cow is in there. And then he opens it up and he's like, what is this? Because it's just endless grammar cards. pages and pages of grammar cards. And he's like, how many lessons is in this one lesson? And I'm like, it's the It's got to be the whole thing. And he's like, you couldn't just make it one thing.
We
No,
do it for you, folks. We do it for
could
you.
not just make it one thing. So here it is, the parts of speech, all the way down to the interjections. So yeah, our members had a lot of fun with that one. I hope that you guys are still having fun with it.
Yeah, I didn't see as many pictures of this as I did of the adorable farmers market activity, but I'm sure it was beloved.
Yes, it was
in
beloved.
its own way.
Yes, and it's so pretty. I'm so proud of it.
Now, I think a related theme that followed that you'll remember pretty well, because we didn't do this one too long ago, this was in September, is Bounty, and it intentionally followed Farm.
Yes, so this is another pairing that we put together on purpose because we wanted to show the relationship between, really showing like, where does your food come from? What is agriculture? How do farms work? And so here we have the kind of honing in on like the cuteness of farm. I mean, what child does not get a start in life with farm animals and their sounds? And the cow says moo, right? And so we kind of started with like, here's what a farm is, here's some farm animals, getting interest, the farmer's market. And then in Bounty, it was like talking about the fruits of all of those all of the labor. And so really, these activities are kind of a mix and match of farm and farming. Yeah, produce. Yeah. So here we have Eat a Rainbow. I know a lot of our friends enjoyed that one. It was a really simple one. And cool thing about this one is it linked back to pigment. So a lot of our members actually remembered pigment and brought their kids back into the PRISM activities when they came across this one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And the other thing that's interesting about this is another re-release.
Yeah.
We did this one in 2020.
It is. It's another re-release.
Just like Invent and Pigment. This actually was a theme that we covered 4 years ago, but obviously very different. So I know we actually have some folks in our community who have been with us since the start, and they probably have some vague memory of the original Bounty. Well, this is a very different version of Bounty. If you didn't get to try it out, you might want to give it a shot. Eat a Rainbow was a lot of fun. Vegetable peeling, parts of a pinto bean.
Oh yeah, this is where we did the bean dissection.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Your poem, the 1, 2, 3, and a bounty for me.
I know. I wrote a poem about pirates because a member was like, "Ooh, bounty pirates." I was like, "Yeah, that's a fun connection."
This is the lab for counting. This was where you would make mosaics with beans.
Yep.
These are some templates. Some journaling to grow your own.
I know you actually wrote the original lessons for some of these activities.
Yeah. Oh yeah, apple measuring.
Oh yeah, that was another one of your activities.
Yeah. 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 So there's a lot of fun. Different plants, native plants from different continents, which is a lot of fun to do that stuff too. Okay, that was Bounty. Now we're getting close to now.
I know.
So these will be much more familiar. In October. Because it is spooky season, and so why not do caves?
Because bats.
Because of bats. But we didn't do bats. We did cave. Now I really like this cover. I think this cover is really fun.
I know. I remember when you were developing this one, and we kind of collaborated a little bit. It was I loved it immediately. Sometimes you present ideas for covers. At least you'll do that and you'll like just watch my face. Like, does she light up with joy or does she go?
Yeah.
And based on that, sometimes I don't even have to say anything. And he's like, okay, that's enough. Like I'm gonna go back and try something different. I'm like, no, I have things to say. And he's like,
dislike.
No, I don't want to hear anything that you have to say. I'm going back to the drawing board, or I know what to fix, or I know.
Okay, it was a fun one. This was, we did a lot about bats, types of bats. We did, I think, parts of a bat.
Yep.
Right? What else did we have in this cave? This had one of bioluminescent glowworms.
Yeah.
Which is a really cool one.
That was really fun to see our members do.
There was an art activity.
Here's the blind cave fish meal. There's actually a whole YouTube where we do that activity for you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a sensorial lesson.
Yeah.
But it's, you can actually go to restaurants where you taste things in the dark.
You could do it yourself.
You could just do it at home
You could
and say
DIY
you're learning.
it. Yeah. So here's parts of a bat. It was really sweet.
Caves around the
Oh
world.
yeah, caves around the world. Some of these were pretty hard. First
They
we
were.
have our linear calendar full of bats. A little bat poem. Cave formations.
Yeah, so this is the one where you grow the stalactites.
Yeah, our members actually created. Oh yeah, this one was fascinating because it took our members. Some of our members got the formations right away, and some of them did several tries. Like it actually ended up being very experimental, and eventually, I think it was discovered that it's not just about the saturation of the liquid; it's also about the humidity in your house, like the temperature, how those crystals grow, how fast they grow.
Oh, interesting.
And some of them got like the classic picture perfect little formations in between the string. And some of them got the formations that were growing like all over the jars, like everywhere but the string. And so there was a lot of, that's how science is supposed to go.
Yeah.
So the results were very unpredictable, and I thought it was really cool that our members stuck with it and they like tried it several times and in different ways, and then compared their results with each other.
Yeah, in fact, he says, we are still working on our cave formations. I'm finally getting there. Yay. I put mine near this bathroom so it could get humidity from the showers.
Yes, this one also had comic strips.
Oh, yeah, Batman.
Bats. It was fun.
Okay. Well, wait. Technical.
Okay.
Stellar.
And Stellar. Now this was just last month.
I can't believe it. It does feel like time flies. But Stellar was the study of stars, the solar system,
galaxies.
The first great story was in here.
Yeah, the first great lesson was in here.
Yep,
and this actually was quite huge. This was the very first time we have ever actually released impressionistic charts inside a constellation theme. Aside from here, like we have worked to create
we do have
impressionistic charts.
some impressionistic charts, like in Pigment we had one that showed.
That's true.
But not like these.
Not like
are
these.
the great
the great lessons.
The great lesson.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to say the great story.
I know it is.
Because I think we called it the great story.
Yeah, probably that's what it's called. But yeah, the great lessons, and it's the full script. So for those of you who are taking your child from the primary curriculum into the lower elementary curriculum, this is a really big offering. We have all of the impressionistic charts that you need in order to tell that first great story or lesson. The story of the universe.
The coming of the universe.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yes.
All right. And then, and the different kinds of stars. All right, let's look at our last one here.
Okay.
You'll know this one because this is the one we're still working on. It's Pirouette. And it just occurs to me that Pirouette is great. It's an art. We've had so much kind of hard science type topics, although as we've shown, like it's even within something that seems very scientific, like Stellar, there's a lot of art and literature, and because that's how interdisciplinary learning works.
That's right.
Pirouette, our current theme, what we're working on right now, is very dedicated to dance and art and having fun.
Yeah, it's a humankind unit for sure. Yeah, where we get our base in that. So yes, I think our members are really enjoying it right now. We've given some sneak peeks out in earlier YouTube episodes and on Instagram. And it is just like lots and lots of ballet going on. Our members are listening to Tchaikovsky. They're painting. We've got parts of a ballet shoe.
That's
right. A point ballet shoe, which is cool.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yes. And the different parts of a theatrical performance. You have dancers and what are the wings, like where you wait for your turn. It is a fun unit and a great way to end 2024.
It is. Oh, and the natural vortexes.
Oh, and I saw some people doing some really cool, and this is also the one where it's the jar, where you create one in a jar. and people were adding different kind of seasonal colors to their jar and making it glittery. So a lot of fun with this one.
Yes, right now I think a lot of our members are making the spiced nuts from a visual recipe from Pirouette. So no, it was I actually I have kind of been waiting to do Pirouette for a long time. It's been a theme that I had really had in mind to do. It's something I really enjoyed teaching from the classroom, teaching ballet, especially this time of year during the season of the Nutcracker. I really love just the ability to take a cultural experience that a lot of kids are experiencing now anyway, and then fully flesh it out into a theme that they can enjoy and in their own home.
That's right.
So it's kind of been a long time coming. I feel really proud that that is how we're ending the year because dancing does make us feel more confident and powerful, and it's a way that children are just naturally expressing themselves anyway. So why not end 2024
with a dance?
With a dance, yeah.
Go out
the
dancing,
big dance
friends.
party, exactly.
Well, this was
exactly.
This was a lot of fun. A little trip down memory lane.
No, and look at this. This is an amazing amount of content, David.
I know, and we want to say again, thanks to everyone out there who has been a member, who has contributed either by sharing ideas or sharing photos or just being part of the community. We want to thank you from the bottom of our heart. It is a true gift that you give to us.
Absolutely.
To allow us to continue to do this work and produce this kind of learning. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Well, I think it is time to say, where's my graphic? It's time to say, have you thought about joining Child of the Redwoods recently? Hopefully you have. You just saw all these awesome themes. We have a free trial. You can get your hands on Pirouette right now.
Yep.
If you go to childofredwoods.com and click that free trial button, you get 7 days.
That's right.
It'll give you a taste of what we do, and then if you like it, you can keep going with that theme of the month and get all the stuff that's coming up next year. It includes pets, wheels, smile. Gosh, I can't remember all 12 topics we have for coming up.
I think it's also good to remind potential members that if you join at the complete or unlimited level, you get all of these themes.
Yeah, you get everything since it's over 40. So you get these plus 30 other themes, plus which is the full back catalog, plus everything we're going to do next year, and the full foundational curriculum for both primary and lower.
It's huge. It's huge. So there are big benefits to becoming a member of our community at the complete level. What we're seeing is our members are mixing and matching activities from themes that are happening in the past.
Yep.
It's not like they are just archived and gone. They become an actual part of the foundational curriculum moving forward.
That's right. And we rolled out something we call the Lesson Explorer, which is a database of all of these lessons, both the foundational lessons and these constellation lessons. So if you are, let's say, studying the first grade, you're doing the first grade lesson about the coming of the universe, and you're like, didn't we do something? Or I wish I had some cards on that. You could search for that. You could find the original lesson in the lower elementary curriculum. You would also be able to find all these parts cards just by searching for it. So it's a really comprehensive way to bring thematic learning to life without ignoring the foundational stuff too. You get to do thematic learning, and you get to do reading and math and all the other stuff that we want to make sure we emphasize. And our card system here will really make that whole experience easier.
That's right.
Tedley says the thematic learning has been so wonderful. Theo loves it and comes up with his own themes. Just last night he asked if we could do a pincer month. I love it, a pincer month.
A pincer month.
There's a little...
I see it, claw.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, I love that one, Theo. Thank you so much for the suggestion.
I have a theme idea.
Oh, what is it? What is it, Mr. Bunny? I didn't expect to see you there.
Well, that's because I'm sneaky. In fact, that's the theme that I am interested in. Sneakiness.
I love that idea.
Yeah. What kind of activities could we have in sneaky?
Okay, off the cuff,
Yeah.
Mr. Bunny. Okay, what could we have in sneaky?
Yeah.
I'm thinking animals that hide in burrows.
That's a good one.
It is a good one.
How about tiptoeing?
Tiptoeing. Oh, I love that one too. That one is a great extension from pirouette, right?
Yeah. I love to tiptoe. Well, good. I love that you love to tiptoe. Yeah. Oh, hey, did I ever tell you about my friend Steve?
No.
Yeah.
Who is Steve?
Oh, yeah. Well, he's an elf, actually. Yeah.
An elf.
Yeah, that's right. Well, he used to be a Santa's elf, but he isn't anymore. But, he hangs out and we have fun together. Well, you mean wait, he was a Santa elf, but he's not an elf anymore? No, he's not. He was once a Santa's elf, but he's not anymore. He's my friend Steve.
Okay. Well,
What?
why are you bringing Steve up? I mean, that's great. I'm happy that you have a friend.
Oh, yeah. I just was thinking about him the other day. He's really upset, though, because Santa said, "You're not getting any toys this year." What? He got fired from his job and he's being denied toys? Yeah, that's right. I guess he's a little elfish. Mr. Bunny, that was a very long walk for a very bad joke.
Did you make that up on the spot, Mr. Bunny?
Nope, I actually thought of it. Oh, wow. Well, Mr. Bunny, I am glad you popped up to tell us that joke. Yes, it's a winner. Okay.
Fantastic. You know what? That was a really great way to end 2024.
Wasn't it, though? All right, I gotta go. Yoink. All right, well, that was my favorite Mr. Bunny joke all year. He has one more chance, though, folks. We hope to see you next week for our final show, our holiday special. Okay, it is the time of the show when we want to wrap things up. But first, I thought it'd be fun to do a top 5.
Okay. Yes. So let's do our top 5. And should we tell them we had different ideas about what the top 5 would be?
This is a full peek behind the scenes episode. Everything is behind the scenes.
I think we should do your way first and be spontaneous.
No, I can't. I can't.
Yes, you can. You can do it. You can do it.
Okay. Well,
Great pressure.
No, I want to do what we plan first because I won't be able to do the other way.
Okay. We'll do my way first and then we'll do your way.
Oh, okay. Well, folks, we wanted to end this episode with reminiscence about our favorites. Now, I had planned to do a top 5 activities, as Aubrey was hinting at, and she had a different, perhaps better idea where we would say different things we liked about different activities. So, I tell you what, I'll ask you a question,
Okay.
and you tell me
Okay.
what you think. Okay, I want you to give me an activity you couldn't wait to see our members do from the year. Ooh, look at all these beautiful.
Well, there's so many. Really, there's so many. But one of the activities that I couldn't personally wait to do, and then I was so excited about, I couldn't wait to see our members do, came actually from our mushroom theme. It was the spore prints.
Which is what Tedley mentioned.
Was mentioned at the very beginning.
Cool.
I know. I heard that and I was like, yes, me too.
That's
I'm so
right.
glad you enjoyed that, Tedley. So yes, this activity is where our members took a portobello, or really any mushroom, and you put it on a piece of white paper. You put a jar over it or a bowl.
Something.
Leave it there for just a few days, and then you lift up the mushroom very carefully, and it's like an amazing.
Yeah, it's left these prints.
The spores actually fall down, like not just a few spores, though, David. Thousands.
I remember.
Thousands and thousands of spores fly out of this mushroom onto the paper and create the image of the underside of the mushroom.
It is very cool.
Spectacular.
It's not something you usually see either. I mean, they're so teeny tiny, and they're out in nature, and they just like fall in the grass or the mud or whatever.
Yeah.
You're not going to see them, so it's cool. And also, it matched really nicely to the parts cards, which included the spores. All right.
I think it's also amazing that this is an activity that you can do just by going to the grocery store and getting, it's the most simple thing you can do that most of us have never tried before. I mean, usually our mushrooms just sit in the fridge, right?
Totally. But no, in fact, they are capable of making art.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, well, I will ask you the same question. What is an activity that, what's an activity that you were excited to see our members do?
Well, it comes from cave. It was the make a cave. The activity in here where people get to, it was called a cave is a cave for me.
Okay.
And basically you get to take a little box and you make a cave from it and decorate it. And we had some little pictures that you could decorate it with, and we suggested lights. And I loved seeing all the different caves that our members made.
It was actually really cool.
And I would bet anything that we still have some caves floating around in rooms and bedrooms
Yes,
or other.
they also, a lot of them reinvented those caves for stellar.
That's right.
By instead of imagining that they were the bioluminescent glowworms, they imagined now it's a starry sky,
right.
and they added galaxies to the top.
Yeah, I was really excited to see, and I was not disappointed
No.
to see those caves come to life.
I know.
Okay, are you ready? All right. Now you do a lot of the research here, and so
That
I'm
is
really
true.
curious about this because
Okay.
I don't know I know the question, I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
What is an activity that as you developed it, it inspired you to learn more? Like as an adult, you were like, oh, I want to know more about that thing.
It was. I mean, actually, there were a lot of things. I learned a lot about mountain goats from climb. Things that I think you remember me researching mountain goats, going like, "Wow, I didn't know that a goat could actually stand vertically on a mountain." Right?
Yeah, that's
but
right.
the thing probably that I had to do the most research was from our tiny unit. It was studying those water bears, those little tardigrades.
Yeah.
For the parts of a tardigrade, and just learning about how awesome water bears were. And I was so inspired that I wrote a whole poem about them
Yes.
called Little Water Bears Are Surprisingly Awesome. A catchy title.
And a descriptive
A
title.
catchy
for sure.
title if one has ever heard of a catchy title.
That's right.
I know. It's really, really cool. Oh, and it ended with this. Mini survivor brings us lots of hope. Frozen over 30 years, thawed in the microscope. That actually is real. And I wrote that because I was just stunned. You can freeze a tardigrade for 30 years and then thaw it and it starts moving its little legs. It just blew my mind.
The diversity of life.
Yeah.
of
All right,
this
so what is
universe.
it for you? What was in our themes that made you inspired to actually learn a little more about that subject area, or just made you curious?
Yeah, it was the Shinrin Yuku, which
Shinrin Yuku.
that's right.
Am I saying that right?
I don't know, but it means forest bathing.
Means
is what
forest
we would
bathing,
in English we would
yeah.
say forest bathing. And I knew a little bit about forest bathing already, but it was wonderful to kind of dig deeper into it. It's a real thing, you know. And they've done all kinds of studies, and so it was interesting to read about the studies they've done with this idea that you go out and you bathe in the forest, and it really has a significant mental healing effect.
Yeah.
In fact, I think one of the things they found that during the pandemic, when people felt really housebound, I know that even here in California, they closed a lot of the outdoor areas. And you really felt that. It really had a deleterious effect on our mental and emotional health. And it just speaks to the power of nature. And humans are biological creatures. We need to commune with nature. And there's this practice, and it's validated by research that actually you really need to do it. And so I was fascinated by that. Okay, what is an activity, this is number 3, that was more complicated to design or write?
An
you
activity
expected.
that was more complicated to design or write is from our bounty theme. It was actually the native produce by continent theme.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. This one gave us all kinds of trouble. Okay, I'll tell you why. It's because, and we even were working with Bounty from a previous version of Bounty where
Yeah.
we had already had brainstorm lists and a kind of a prototype of pre-selected research that we had even been doing with Carrie back long ago, back in 2020
That's right.
or 2021. And we had to go and I just remember re-researching, and it was just this rabbit hole where I felt like I could not win exactly like where these things came from. And so like you're researching something like what is the native produce from Oceania, and I can't remember what was come up with. Oh, or some of those some of the produce that is now all produced in the Caribbean islands, like that all came from different places. And so doing this research, it was just like one rabbit hole information jump after another. Like, actually, this plant actually came from this particular region over here, but and actually it was brought over by, you know, this region over here. And so it really did make you, I think by the end of that research, it made me kind of feel like giving up in a way, like, who cares? Like, it was all Pangea once, you know, like long ago, all these continents are all mashed together. And like, okay, so a version of this grows in this area, and a version of this grows in this area. And it kind of, it was kind of like, I don't know. And then even afterwards, we still had members kind of jumping in with like, I think this is actually the wrong kind of wrong picture for this particular kind of produce. And so I know you had trouble finding the pictures of these particular kinds of produce, and I had trouble figuring out if they actually came from the continent that we thought that they came from. But the truth is that, you know, in the real time when our members were actually working with these, our members were really excited. Like the layout of this activity, just seeing like the bounty of produce that our world like creates, and the variety of different kinds of fruits and vegetables and tuberous roots that we eat, is just so interesting to look at in a great big layout. And so it turned out to be really great and really fun and enriching, and I think the children learned a lot. I certainly learned a whole lot. But yeah, it was a lot more complicated than I thought it was going to be. I was like, oh yeah, we could do produce by continent. And I was like, wait a minute, colonialism what? And then again, like at the end,
this
I'm like,
type of banana-shaped
it's all
thing is
one
actually
world.
slightly bigger.
We all are citizens of the earth. Like,
well, mine it actually is very similar. It was from Cave, and it was these adorable and frustrating.
And this came right off of Bounty too.
Bats, finding high quality usable pictures of all the different types of bats
it turned out to be so much harder.
Huge endeavor.
I know, and we really struggled with that one because it was so easy for me to. That was one that I didn't have to do a lot of work to write. I was like, yeah, we'll do different parts of bats.
We'll have this bat. We'll have this bat.
That's why I picked all the bats, and then I gave them to David in a list with the descriptions of all their different features and everything. Right?
Yes.
And here they are, and then we had to go through more than one version of what the cards would look like because you struggled so much to find pictures of these particular kinds of bats in ways that would illustrate the differences between them. I mean, it kind of highlighted for us like the limitations that we are in as publishers, you know? So maybe like as a homeschooler, if I were going to go and recreate this activity for my own kids, I just grab whatever pictures I want from the internet. It's not matter. I'm not going to sell them or anything. But because we are publishing them, we pay so much attention to like, what do we have the copyrights to? What can we find legit? And you in particular, you are really particular about making sure that the images that you're pulling are like from the same perspective. So if we're going to do bats, like having a bat like this and a bat like this and a bat with just like the face, it doesn't feel like good design.
No, because we want the kids to see them in kind of in similar ways so that they can think about the bats.
Think about the differences between them.
It's pedagogical.
Yeah, so that one was really hard.
It was. All right. Now, let's talk about fun.
Okay.
What's an activity that we did this year that you were like, I wish my kids were little again? Because we have teens, and these activities are really, we have 2 to 9-year-olds in mind, and they're still fun, but some of these would be like, I wish I had I wish my kid was still 4.
Yeah.
So what's one of those that
or
you wish
seven,
were 7 or
or
something?
whatever it is. For me, it was like there was no contest with this question. It's hands down the makerspace from Invent.
Yeah, and I know that was a big winner for a lot of folks.
It was a big winner. I mean, for me, like my memories of homeschooling our kids, I'm just going to try and locate it here. My memories of homeschooling our kids were less like my less sparkly memories were about the Montessori materials and the cards, although those are great. My most sparkly, nostalgic memories all center around what they did with cardboard, and it is hard to describe the enormity of shredded cardboard that existed in our house for like a span of 5 years. I mean, I'm not kidding. David would come home from work and he'd be like, "What happened to the house again?" And there'd just be like springs and wheels and cardboard bits and scissors and hot glue and, just like all over the living room, over and over and over again. And that's because our kids just really enjoyed that kind of the creative process, So all kids are different. That one just in particular was really sparkly memory for me. Yeah, and very, very nostalgic. So I loved seeing the things that our members were creating in the community. And, that time has passed for us. Our kids are teens, and they spent many, many years in cardboard boxes. And they really don't seem to have the desire to get inside a cardboard box anymore and pretend that it's a ship or to make something from it in the way that they used to.
That's right.
But I know that the things that they learned from being in that kind of messy makerspace was really impactful for them.
Yeah, they still express that creativity or that inventiveness, but in just different ways.
How about you?
For sure, it was the animals of the savannah from Giant. Because
see, that is one I would have thought to pick.
Yeah,
it's so interesting.
Yeah, it's not because the animals of the savannah activity itself sparks a memory. That's a categorizing activity.
Oh, now I know why.
Yeah, it's because our kids were really into cubbies. And we had a whole selection of little stuffed stuffies, the stuffed lions. There was Daddy Lion and Mommy Lion,
cheetahs,
and Cubby 1 and Cubby 2 and Cubby 3 and Cubby 4.
Daddy Cubby, Mommy Cubby,
yeah,
and the baby cubbies and the grandma cubby.
And there was
there was an Uncle Lion.
I would tell them stories at night using the cubbies, and so it's just a lot of wonderful memories. And also, when we still like to go to the zoo occasionally, but when they were little, we loved going to the zoo, especially when we lived in Washington, D.C., and our oldest was very little, and he was 3-4 years old, and we would go to the National Zoo and look at all the critters. And I have such wonderful memories of him being a little guy, just the kind of age that would be starting to learn about animals of the savannah and going to the zoo in Washington, D.C. And so the cubbies plus that really tickled my nostalgia strings.
Aww.
Whatever you want to say, the heartstrings.
All right, well, last one, and
Okay.
then we've got to go. So we're talking about our favorite cover designs.
Yes.
And I would love to know if any of you out there have a favorite cover design. David does all of these from scratch. So that is something fun to know, is that they're all original. And do you have a favorite in mind? I know you do.
I have one. I think, I have a couple. Because we're always trying to do something different. So I'm always trying to vary the art style. I'm not a trained designer. I've been into art and visual art for basically my whole life, but I'm not a trained designer. I'm a trained educator. And so a lot of it is learning as I go and trying to be experimental with kind of different techniques. And Farm is one that I really, really love because he's such a cute little pig. It looks like he's on a little crate, and I love the way the colors came out. The other one that I liked, if I had to pick another one, and I will because it's my show, is I really like Giant. I thought the elephant came out really cute. I loved the way that I was really pleased with how the line the line art came out on this guy as well, and the colors. So those are two that I'm pleased with. I could also tell you the ones that I will never do again if I had to, but we won't talk about that because it's too sad.
Is that right? Okay, well, I'm gonna pick two as well.
Oh,
You got
okay.
two. I also will. So pigment.
Oh, okay.
I actually really love it. I remember when you were working with the prototype. It's kind of a different design than
Definitely.
you were going with, kind of like a sketchbook type of design. And I remember the first version you gave me were like different colors than we talked about it, and you changed it to the colors of the rainbow. I remember your first version was one of those that was like, I see what you're going for, but like, it's a rainbow. And then you changed the colors like to be the colors of the rainbow, and it was like, I love this now, it's my favorite. Do you remember that moment?
I don't,
The
but
moment when I was jumping up and down with joy in our living room, like, you did it, it's so good, I love it. You don't remember that moment?
I don't, but I'm glad. That was not one of my favorites.
No,
it didn't come together the way I had hoped, but
It's
it is,
so good.
the idea is there. It's black and white and like to be
It's
painted.
cute. It's cute.
All right, that's one.
All right, and I guess my second, which is really, really hard, is actually back to invent.
And actually, this is Theo's favorite as well.
Is
apparently.
it? Theo, you and I are in sync on this one. I love
Says they cut and pasted it to the front of Theo's idea book. That's so beautiful. Thank you.
That's a great idea. I can see
Well,
that.
thank you for sharing that too.
Yeah.
That means a lot to
Well,
me.
this was, I felt like you were getting more inventive with your design style here. When I saw these floating inventions spinning around the light bulb, I just found it really inspiring. It was like,
cool.
what? Yeah, I don't know. I love it. I love the colors. I know our printer didn't do a really great job. I don't know if you can tell that here on the video. It's one we need to reprint because our printer was running out of ink when we printed it. But I just think it's really beautiful with the spinning inventions.
Yeah, I liked it too. It's
There's
a good
like
one.
a sense of motion in it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like an idea light bulb and an atom, and these are sort of the electrons or the ideas and the invention. Yeah, well, they're fun to do. It's fun. We have some really good ones coming up. Wheel, I'm really happy with. It's a very different look, and that's going to be a lot of fun. That theme is going to be a lot of fun. Will be, for those of you who are in the complete and unlimited plans, you're going to get access to that. I think in like about a week and a half. Or 2 weeks.
Pretty soon.
Before Christmas.
And that is a great lead-in from Pirouette. Actually, these three themes have a lot to do in common.
Yeah, so Pirouette.
We're going from the spinning galaxies to the spinning dancers, the spinning people. So we're still working with centrifugal force here, and then we're going to take that right into wheel in January and continue with the rotation kind of theme. And then we'll kind of see where it leads on from there.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what everybody comes up with next year in 2025.
Yes.
As we roll out the themes. Again, if you're interested in learning more about any of these themes, or you'd like to even test out one for yourself, head over to our website, childoftheredwoods.com. And if you need to message us, you want to know more about what we're up to, you can email us at hello@childoftheredwoods. You can find us on Instagram. We've revitalized our Instagram account.
Revitalized the Instagram
so
account.
You can
so
now
tag
reach
us
us
in
there again if you
or
wish.
DM us. Yeah.
And otherwise, we will see you next week for our last show of the year. And until then, have a great day.